Shelley Winter Show live, local, topical, and relevant. I don't understand. How do we? Okay, I'm sorry. But how do we come on at 7? These guys just went off the air at 7. Everything was fine, and now it's going all haywire when we come on. Oh, man. All right. Well, stick with us, ladies and gentlemen. We're having some technical difficulties. We'll get through them. But, today, so J.D. Vance was picked last night as vice president. And I told you what I thought about J.D. Vance as the vice presidential pick. I wanted Glenn Youngkin. That was my choice. That's the person I liked the best. I thought gave him a lot, gave him Virginia, very popular, self-made man, the whole nine, yada, yada, yada. More importantly than that, I like Glenn Youngkin because also it opened up Lieutenant Governor Winsome Sears, who's a good friend of mine, who would have been governor, and then she would have run in 2025, and we'd have our first African-American female governor, which is a big deal as a Republican, right? That's what it'd be cool to see that. So anyway, didn't happen, right? But I liked the pick of J.D. Vance. And part of my liking his pick is policy. I get the policy. And I'm not bothered by the fact that he didn't like Trump in 2016. It doesn't bother me in one way, shape, or form or another. It doesn't bother me. Everyone changes their mind, right? We know a lot of people didn't like Trump in 2016 who like him now. I happen to like him when he first came down the staircase. I'm one of the few. A lot of you also. But remember, when he first came down, a lot of people in Georgia said, oh, he's for abortion, he's for gay marriage. You know what I mean? Many conservatives who now love Donald Trump were not with him at the very beginning. Some of us were. It's no big deal. It's not it doesn't make us smarter or anything like that. It just makes us that we liked him first, or we liked him early, not first, but early. And a lot of people didn't catch up until later. That's fine. There's no judgment, no problems there. And so as we go forward, he picks J.D. Vance, and I love J.D. Vance's story. I love his overall story. And so anyway, I was home last night, and I thought to myself, you know what? I've always maintained. Now, I want you all to follow what I'm saying here. It's just going to be a couple minutes. I've always maintained that the treatment of Donald Trump, the treatment by the media, the way they flipped on him, they're all friends with him, they all liked him, he was in sitcoms, he was in movies, everybody in popular culture, everybody liked him, and all of a sudden he runs as a Republican, and they just did a about face. They just switched, like an on and off switch, and they just said, oh, he's racist, we don't like him, we hate his guts. And I always thought that treatment made him first black president. If you've listened to me for a long time, you've heard me say that. Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, different comedians have talked about how the first black president would be treated, and they've all talked about him dodging, assassination and running, moving around. Richard Pryor has a skit where the first black president is moving around because he's giving a press conference because, people want to get him. And we see this with the treatment of Donald Trump. The media treatment, the hatred, right? And then when you look at the way popular culture, hip-hop, right, looked at it culturally as a black president. And then when you think of the things like the way he carries himself, his swagger, the way he moves, first black president. And so many, early on when Donald Trump was running and won in 2016, one of the things I used to say was he's really the first black president, culturally speaking, swag speaking, the way he carries himself and the way the media treats him with such hatred and derision, right? I say he's first black president. Now he picks J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance, up from nothing. Drug-addicted mother, raised by his grandmother, almost in poverty, in a poor city, in a poor town, in a poor neighborhood. Drugs, poverty, no jobs. His story. It's a quintessential urban African-American story of someone rising up from nothing, single-parent household, addiction issues, poverty issues, crime, not the family, but around them, broken cities, broken families. Father left him when he was early. This is J.D. Vance's real story. I thought to myself, this might be, follow me here, this might be the blackest presidential ticket this country has ever seen with Donald Trump and J.D. Vance. Because if you look at the treatment of Donald Trump, very black in the hatred of the way the media hates him so much, the vitriol, the name calling. Very minority-like, very, very black-like, the way they treat him. If you look at his influence on pop culture, very black-like, the African-American influence on popular culture. His ties with hip-hop before he ran, very African-American. The swagger, the women, very African-American. I'm not being disrespectful, I'm just being honest. And then you look at the story of J.D. Vance, his backstory. Single mother, absent father, high crime, low opportunities, grandmother there for him. Tell me about the number of African-American football and basketball players who will tell you I was raised by my grandmother. This might be, ladies and gentlemen, culturally speaking, the blackest presidential ticket in the history of this country. And I'm the first to tell you that, and I can stand on it. Shelley Winter Show, 404-872-0750, 1-800-WSB Talk. We'll be right back.